We're live. We're live here on the Post Status Happiness Hour. Okay, first
Yahoo!
questions first. What's on your head?
Oh,
I see.
this
I see
my ugly.
rainbows.
Yeah. So I was just at a conference last week, and there were a lot of podcasters there, and they told me to stop using Bluetooth headphones when I'm
Okay.
podcasting. And so I switched back to my old school wired in headphones, and all I've got are these really old Sennheisers that I had to tape with rainbow duct tape years ago.
It looks like you
Um,
have a pretty little bow in your hair.
Perfect. Perfect. That's what I'm going for. That's what I'm
I
going
mean,
for.
but you know what, Roger? I knew it works.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for joining me today on the
Yeah,
Happiness Hour. I
absolutely.
it's always a pleasure to talk to you for multiple reasons. Chief, of course, is that you're a wonderful person to talk to, but
Ah,
also I get to see those pictures of your dog in the background, and like, who wouldn't love those pictures? The
they're
dogs, I
pretty
think one,
great.
two dogs, right? Yeah,
Two dogs. Yeah. So Daisy over here, and then Enzo's over here. Yeah.
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 Just adorable, adorable.
Oh.
I would love to claim all of the wildlife as my own in my pictures, but alas, they do not live with me.
Well, that's a lot cheaper. You don't have to maintain as much.
True, true. I do have a cat that lives behind my monitor because she has a little bed back there. She likes it back there because I can't reach her and she can stay out of it. Like, I can't make her accept my hugs and kisses, basically. But she comes out and stretches every once in a while and, lets me pet her for a second. But anyway,
So she represents cats very well.
yeah, she does. She's got it down pat. She realizes I'm the staff. I'm not the owner, so it's all good.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, so first, let me say welcome not only to the show, but Kinsta is, we got everything in the works right now. Any moment we should be able to, I'm going to officially announce the soft launch of Kinsta sponsorship of Post
Awesome.
Status. So welcome as a sponsor. We created our own little sponsorship channel with y'all today and
I mean,
open for those conversations.
I
So
mean,
it's really great.
once there's a sponsored channel in Slack, that makes it official, right?
It does. It does. It's just the just and we signed the contracts. It's just that little payment thing, and I know that you guys are good for it, so we're gonna announce it anyway. So welcome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you. We're
Oh
really
yeah,
excited to be part of the community and help. I know it's $50 a year now. Like, what a smoking deal.
yeah, right.
I'm encouraging everybody to join. I actually just had a great conversation with Yost, and we talked about his kind of goal and mission with making Post Status into a nonprofit and really
Hmm.
making it that community that can have all of the conversations, and
Right.
have the spicy conversations, right?
Hmm.
And still manage to be a group of people that get along. And so that's
Yeah,
really encouraging.
and we do fun stuff too. I don't know if you saw it, but we started a new channel today called the
Ooh,
Music Channel,
okay.
and I got an official, like, I paid for an official Spotify account today
Okay.
called Post Status, and I have two playlists in there that are open to collaboration amongst our community. So if you're
Okay.
in Post Status Slack and you go to the music channel, you will see you can add to those playlists. One is for folks who like mellow music when they work, and the others for people who like upbeat music when they work. So you can just
Okay.
add to that playlist or building playlists, two playlists together as a community for fun, right? Because you can do that. We can do those fun things there, and I really enjoy that too. So it's
No,
pretty
that's
cool stuff,
that's really awesome. I love the initiative there. It's always interesting to hear what other people listen to
isn't it?
when they're getting work done. Yeah.
Can I tell you my biggest fear was that because I had to seed it with something, right? So I put like two songs in each one, and I thought I'm going to be judged so hard by these four songs.
Okay. What were the songs? Let me judge. Let me
Now
judge.
I got to go back and look. Okay, hold on a second. I put in "You Don't Know Me," which is a Ray Charles, Diana Krall song. This is the mellow
Okay.
one.
Yep.
Which I think nobody, but I'm a huge Josh Groban fan. So the other one was "When You Say You Love Me" by Josh Groban.
Okay.
And then the upbeat songs, I actually did a little research. See, I listen to 70s music all the time, like 70s,
Okay.
80s. That's what I was doing. So I did a little research. I'm like, what are upbeat songs that people like to listen to? And even though Coldplay gets a bad rap sometimes, Viva La Vida was the #1 song on multiple lists. So
Okay.
that and On Top of the World by Imagine Dragons.
Okay.
Were the
Okay.
4 that I seeded those, 2 each into those things. And I thought nobody so far has said, Michelle, your taste in music is awful. So we're going to let it ride. We're going to let it ride. If I
All
need
right.
to, I can always delete them.
I feel like you went with some pretty safe choices there.
I mean, I tried.
Good songs, good bands. So,
Yeah.
and now it's up to people to proliferate the
That's right.
lists with their ideas, and I'm looking forward to see what people start sharing.
Yeah, well, on the upbeat songs, I will say Corey Moss went to work on it because we're up to 18 songs on that playlist,
Whoa.
and we have 5 on the other playlist. So,
Okay.
yeah, so if you are not a member of Post Status and you want to be, it's only $50 a year, you can influence these playlists. I mean, I'm going to start listening to them tomorrow and see, how much work I get done. We'll see.
I tell you what, I feel like we're in a telethon type situation.
I know, right?
Operators are standing by to take your call. Let's see let's get joining up here, people.
Oh my goodness, I'm old enough to have grown up on the Jerry Lewis telethons, where he's like, "Let's see that tote board," right? As the numbers flip over and like the old alarm clocks did. It was so fun.
Absolutely. No, I used to remember they would always come on like PBS and stuff when I was wanting to watch the new Star Trek series or something. And I'm like, you guys are killing me. I've got no money. I'm just a kid. So
yeah, and all the people they would bring on were like the old Love Boat type people. Like, it's like, I don't want to see Charo. I know she does good flamenco. Show me somebody I care about. Like, but I mean, it was what it was. Donald O'Connor dancing at 78 years old. No, I don't need to see that. But anyway.
Okay.
James Lau says hello to both of us. Hey, James, good to have you here.
James. Man, I haven't seen James in a while.
He's a pretty awesome dude.
Yeah. Definitely.
He really is. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do at Kinsta.
Oh boy. Okay. So at Kinsta, I'll just start there. I recently actually got kind of a title change. So now I was community manager. Now I'm partnerships and community manager for North America.
Okay.
And so what does that mean? So I get to go to a lot of events. And kind of try and engage the community, get feedback as far as, hey, on the hosting product, get feedback about what people are thinking about WordPress in general. And then I take that information back to the home base and share it with the powers that be and my coworkers to help improve the product, and then also see how we can help the WordPress project overall. And so one initiative that we've got going relatively recently is we've started sponsoring contributors to WordPress. And so that has been just a lot of fun, reaching out to different contributors and seeing, how we can help them, help their work, and really improve WordPress, because if WordPress doesn't keep improving, there's not a whole lot for Kinsta to do. So that's kind of a new initiative. Other things. So with the partnership side, I talk with different companies that are adjacent to Kinsta. So agencies are a big one. We have a lot of agency customers, and we also have a lot of customers that use agencies. And so it's very important that we have a dialogue with agencies as far as what works for them, what we could improve with the product, and how we can help them grow their business as well. So, and then also with like plugin makers and theme designers and, the whole ecosystem of WordPress companies kind of works in there. And then also just going one step further is open source in general. So at Kinsta, one thing that we've utilized for many years is Linux containers for each of the sites, isolates them, gives them a lot of resources. And so we help support the maintainer of the Linux container project, which is changing into Incus and getting a little in the weeds here. But so that's really exciting too, is being able to reach out to the people who make the tools that allow us to make WordPress and allow us to host websites, and help them get their work continued and supported. So Geez, and it's a pretty nebulous position. So there's a lot of things going on. I do a lot of videos. I make videos on LinkedIn where I interview people in the WordPress ecosystem as well as.
Those are compelling, by the way, because you keep them concise, right? They don't go on for hours. They also are fun. You have topics that you put right there, and they just show up in your newsfeed. So you're like, oh, what's this all about? Those are awesome. I mean, even if I'm speaking from having been on the other side of your microphone.
Well, I thank you so much. I appreciate the feedback and the encouragement. It started as just a fun way to get to know presenters before WordCamp US last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to WordCamp US and not everybody, but a lot of people asked me if they could be on my podcast. And I was like, well, first of all, it's not really technically a podcast. I wanted to interview more people, and I like, LinkedIn imposes the 15-minute time rule that I have, which is kind of nice because it allows me, I'm only interrupting somebody's day for 15 minutes to do the interview.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm only interrupting your day for 15 minutes if you want to watch the interview. So I
Right.
feel like it's very courteous of me in some ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then there's just a lot of fun. It's an opportunity to get to know people in the industry, people that I maybe have known for a while, and learn more about them, and then meet new people and hear their stories, and then help share their stories. So that was like kind of an afterthought activity, and it's really turned into a pretty considerable amount of my job. And again, I get a lot of encouragement from my bosses to keep doing those.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. You've talked to some pretty awesome people. You've talked to a lot of people that I've never heard of or met before too, which I love because you're introducing people to the WordPress community that we want to know because they're doing cool stuff. So I love that component of it as well, for sure.
That's great to hear, and I'd like to say that that is all by design. A lot of it is just because I don't know the big names in WordPress, and so
That's okay too.
I haven't connected with them yet. But then also has been a little bit of a conscious decision to seek out people who are not getting as much exposure and maybe aren't as well known, but who I've met one way or another, and I know that they're very interesting people. And I mean, everybody's got a story to tell. And
Sure.
I think the nice thing about 15 minutes is it makes it easy for people to tell their story and not run out of things to talk about. And so we can put something together that's pretty interesting.
Well, I will tell you that you did inspire something I've been working on, which is starting last month. It is April now. Yep, starting last month. Last month was Women's History Month. And
Yes.
so I got it in my head on like the 4th or 5th day of the month. Oh, it's Women's History Month. We should interview women in WordPress. I thought I would get maybe 10 people, right? I have over 50 interviews now that I've recorded.
Wow.
They average about 5 minutes. Some go as long as 12, some as short as like 4.
Yeah.
Which I guess is not really an average of 5, but there's about 5 minutes, 6 maybe. And you check out the outliers. But then it's been really awesome. And because there's so many of them, I'm continuing it for months. And it might just be a regular feature we have. We have a YouTube playlist now that's these women's interviews, Women in WordPress. And I am so proud to say that we have interviewed somebody on every inhabitable continent of the world. So I've got women from literally everywhere, which is so cool. But
That's
it's
amazing.
because I saw your shorter, concise interviews that I thought I could do like Roger does.
That's awesome. I'm sure you're blowing it out of the water. You're way more put
I'm
together
having
and
fun.
composed. So
I don't know about that.
no, and I'm excited to hear that, and I think that in the age of these 2 and 3 and 4 hour podcasts, I really like seeing the shift back towards the shorter. It's the same way with like streaming media, right? Like my wife and I, we really get excited when there's an episode that's only 25 minutes long, right? Because like I got to go to bed at some point, people.
It's I call it consumable, right? It's like you don't feel overwhelmed. You can actually consume it on social media as opposed to having to go someplace and download or look longer or pop popcorn first,
Exactly. No, yeah. Having these little bite-sized nuggets and there's also the whole concept of, do you need 2 hours to really say what you're trying to say? Can you sum it up for me?
Right.
And I, one of the approaches that I'm kind of doing with my show is once I have somebody on and I get to know like who they are and how we interact, then, maybe I invite you back and we do a longer show if there's something
Sure.
more for us to dig into.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's just a lot of variability. I really I talked with Matt Medeiros, I think last fall, about my philosophy on doing the show. And there's a lot of a salesman's mentality to it. So in sales, to be successful at sales, you just have to deal with rejection and no's.
Absolutely.
And so one of the things I learned early in my sales career was to collect 50 no's a day. And then I would get to a yes, right? And the math sometimes worked and sometimes it didn't, depending on what I was selling, right? But I think with doing episodes, doing a show like this, especially when you're starting out and you're not sure what you want to talk about or how good your interviewing skills are, then go for numbers. Like just start,
Right.
do a lot of interviews, talk to a lot of people, and figure it out as you're going. And just getting the repetitions in and seeing if you enjoy it too.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do have to say it is a podcast if you call it a show. So you've officially tipped over to that territory.
Okay. I thought that if
I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules, Roger.
Okay. I thought that in order for it to be a podcast, it had to have an RSS feed.
I don't think so. I think it has to be called a show and put out in regular format somewhere. I make my own decisions here, so maybe I do make the rules. I don't know, but
and in your defense, people are calling these shows on YouTube podcasts now, even though there's no RSS feed. So all right, we'll go with it.
Okay, absolutely, so much fun. So Kinsta, if anybody doesn't know what Kinsta is, what is Kinsta?
Oh wow, okay. So if you don't know what Kinsta is, then what's going on?
I know, right?
No, seriously. So Kinsta, we're a managed hosting company, and we focus on WordPress. And then we've actually got a new product for application hosting and database hosting called Sevalla. And if people are interested, they can look that up. But I'll really talk more about the WordPress side. That's the majority of our business. We've been in business for over 12 years now. We've got hundreds of thousands of sites under management that we're helping people deliver to the world. And, to back up for a second, what do I mean by managed hosting? So with managed hosting, we're handling all of the infrastructure outside of WordPress. So the Nginx server, the MySQL database, Linux, and then we're also integrating with Cloudflare Enterprise. So every site on Kinsta has Cloudflare Enterprise protecting it from DDoS attacks, but also we're utilizing their CDN and edge caching and image optimization services to really help speed up your site and make sure that anybody in the world that wants to view it can see it really quickly.
Excellent. And you have an affiliate program, I noticed. I'm actually going to put this banner up on the screen here. I've been digging into it's like I know what I'm doing sometimes. I don't know. I surprise myself. I've been looking into doing more affiliate sales, right? And I've signed up. I think I signed up for Kinsta. I did a whole bunch in one day. As you know, I was laid off from my last job, and I was like, where can I find some passive income? So I'm building a website. I'm doing reviews. I'm doing all the things. And so, so here's a way to do that. What does your affiliate program look like for people who might want to, get involved with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, at risk of making this sound like a whole sales pitch all day, I apologize to everybody. You're asking the questions, so I'm gonna.
Of course. And we didn't talk about this, we didn't talk about this beforehand either. These are just my curiosity.
No, I'm enjoying it. So, our affiliate program is quite generous. You just go to the link that you see on the screen, kinsta.com/affiliates, get signed up. And we have our amazing affiliate team will review your application. And once you're signed up, it's pretty standard from an affiliate program. You get a link that has a specific code in it. So when somebody clicks that link and then signs up, you get credit for the sale. So that's pretty standard affiliate program stuff. The way that you make money is pretty straightforward. We pay you on sign up. So it's anywhere from $50 to $500, depending on which plan somebody signs up for.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get 10% of whatever is billed for each month for the life of that account.
There you go.
So our cheapest plan is $35 a month. So 10% of
Least
that's
expensive. Marketing,
least
least expensive.
expensive. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's what I'm here
Our
for.
our least expensive plan is $35 a month. So 10% of that's $3.50 a month for
Mm-hmm.
the life of the account. And, we don't put any limits on when that's going to end. We just keep paying you as, you brought the business to us. So we're going to pay you for that. So, and thank you for it.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's really straightforward. We have, like I mentioned, a dedicated affiliate management team. So if, as you're an affiliate, there's ever any concerns or questions about a sign up, all you have to do is reach out and we'll take a look at it and work with you. The one key time frame to put in there is about a 2-week limit. So if somebody signs up and they should have gotten credited to you, you need to reach out to us, within 2 weeks, which isn't
Mm-hmm.
an unreasonable amount of time to ask you to reach out.
Not at all.
And we'll work with you to figure all that out.
Yeah.
And then we've built the affiliate dashboard in-house, so it's very snappy. And,
Nice.
and if you have feedback on, in the improvements or suggestions, our developers can take a look at those and choose to implement them if it sounds like a good plan.
Nice. I have pulled up on the screen, as I'm sure you saw.
Yeah.
Not only do you have the affiliate, information on the affiliate page, but you have 17 pages that talk about doing affiliate sales and doing affiliate marketing. So it looks like a very well supported plan as well. 198 results when I just search affiliate on your blog. So
Yeah. So backing up a second. So who is Kinsta? A big component of who Kinsta is our blog. The way that I first learned about Kinsta was when I was working for one of our competitors, and I was in tech support. And in tech support, you get these issues that you haven't seen before a lot, right? And so you Google, hey, here's the error code that just got thrown at me, and you start looking through stuff. And a lot of times you go to StackOverflow and these types of sites. Now you go to AI.
mm-hmm.
But back about like 6-7 years ago, anytime I would Google a WordPress issue, this one blog would keep coming up with these amazing blog posts that would not only like explain the issue, but walk you through how to resolve it, usually in multiple different ways. And that blog was kinsta.com.
Nice.
And that got me, I mean, again and again, the same blog kept coming up with different answers for all these issues. And so eventually I was like, well, I should just go work for these guys. They seem to have it all figured out. And so I applied, and I started off in the migrations team, worked my way to client experience, then to sales, and then we created this community position. But yeah, it really is amazing how much we work to give information back to the community, to the industry as a whole. Yes, it drives a lot of sales, but I mean, there's still a ton of people I know that get value out of the blog who are not our customers. Not yet. But your affiliate program is going to work on that for us.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Now, I believe this is fairly new announcement as well.
Yes.
Kinsta is now a global WordCamp sponsor.
Yes. So this is pretty exciting. This just came out yesterday, April 1st.
And it was not a joke.
No, and it was not a joke. And it was funny. We were talking about how it started April 1st. And all these reasons. And I was like, do we want to hold off on doing a press release on April 1st? Probably. So it doesn't get dismissed. But no, just really excited to, again, find a way to support the community through this. For those that aren't aware, the global WordCamp sponsors, what that means is we're now a gold level sponsor for all of the local WordCamps around the globe, everything except for the flagship 3. And so that helps immediately get funding to all of those WordCamps and helps them put on those shows. It's one less phone call that they need to make to get a sponsor signed up and all the paperwork. and rigmarole that goes through that. So now, carte blanche, we're just all WordCamps that aren't flagships we're a sponsor of, and so helping get those WordCamps to happen. And then we're also helping the meetups happen. So there's, I don't know the exact number at this point. It's in the thousands, if not more, of meetups
Yeah.
around the globe. And I think these are where the real magic happens with WordPress, right? I help run a small meetup here in Durango. Once a month, we have like anywhere from 4 to 9 people show up. But every time, like, we have great conversations and we talk about WordPress, we talk about digital marketing, we talk about how our lives are going, where we're going to go on vacation, and we really connect. And so meetups are just a really exciting way to really get that super local connection happening. And as a global sponsor, we help with the fees responsible for meetup.com, which love it or hate it. You know, I'm not going to tell you my judgment right now, but it is a useful site for organizing things. As an organizer, it makes it really easy for me to quickly get stuff posted up and then get people to come to the event. And then there's another aspect of the meetups that's a little bit less known apparently, because I keep on having people asking if we can help them with their venue costs. And I always ask, hey, did you reach out to WordPress Foundation yet? Because as global sponsors, we also help with the funding to help get some venue costs covered. And so that's just really exciting to help promote both of those programs, WordCamps and meetups. So
Absolutely. That's awesome. And it's really nice that there are organizations like Kinsta that, you know, are so all in on the WordPress community that you're sponsoring contributors, you're sponsoring the community at large as well. I'm signing the paperwork today as one of your most recent contributors that you're sponsoring, and I want to thank you for sponsoring my time in the WordPress community. So yeah,
absolutely.
I had a little snafu with signing the paperwork, as we talked about before, but it will be signed as soon as we're done here today. So it will be official very shortly, and I'll be able to post it on social and say how wonderful it is to have organizations like Kinsta sponsoring the work that I do in WordPress. So thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome, and you know, and we're proud to sponsor you and the other contributors, because we know it's an all volunteer project, right?
Right.
And it's open source, and this is how open source works: is the companies that are benefiting off of the projects, you know, you don't have to, right? It's open source software, so there's no obligation to support the software, but I mean, it just makes sense that you do realize, hey, our income is based off of these volunteer-led projects. We really should be reaching out and helping to contribute in some way. And the thing I really enjoy about sponsoring contributors like yourselves is it's immediate impact, right? You're not we could turn to a bunch of employees at Kinsta who have never used WordPress, let alone worked in Make WordPress Slack and tried to contribute. And, you know, that could be very helpful for those individuals to learn more about WordPress and how to contribute to it. But as far as the project's impact, it's just not going to be as impactful as sponsoring people who have already been contributing, who know the ins and outs of the project, and then who can even, you know, in a force multiplier effect, help that many more people become part of the project.
Sure.
You know, we help a lot of people, we sponsor a lot of people that do a lot of documentation work. And, you know, as somebody who kind of ran the documentation program at Kinsta for a little while, I mean, it's the most important work, and it's the most thankless work that can happen, right?
And it can be tedious, right? So to have some incentive, to have nobody does it because they're expecting anything back, but to have a company like Kinsta say, I see you and I want to support that is just a wonderful thing.
Agreed, 100%. And I mean, it is tedious, right? I mean, because you've spent all this time putting some sort of documentation together and you missed like one step, and that's the first thing somebody points out to you. And so like there's a gut punch there, but it's important work, right? And documentation is one of those things that it gets taken for granted, right? When it's there, you don't think anything of the fact that somebody had to put a lot of work into creating this. But the fact that it's there is literally allowing you to use some aspect of the tool. And so it's so important. So important.
Right. We're coming up on a new release soon. We are less than 2 weeks away from 6.8 being released. We're in release candidate 2 right now. Yes. 1 more week after this to work on it. And then it's like out for being updated, and we do know that people find more bugs once it's been released, but we're in that bug squashing right now. So and the work and that's part of the work I'm doing is on that release squad, and so are others. So that's the work that you're supporting, not just the work that I do in the community, not just the work that I do with the photo directory, for example, but every release as well. So so thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. And thank you again for that work that you're doing there, because it is really critical. And again, it's like the documentation, WordPress can get taken for granted so easily because it's something that's just there, right? It's been there for, we're at like 22 years now. You just go to wordpress.org and you download the software and you can get to work on it. But there's a lot of time and effort and people involved with making that happen. As far as 6.8 is going, how are you feeling about it? I know that there's been like some, Matt's put out some ideas that maybe we're going to do 1 release a year or something. Do you think that there's enough people helping with testing out and checking for bugs at this point?
I mean, there are, right? There's always people who are in there testing. We have, quite a few people who are doing that kind of thing. You can always use more because we can't test every scenario. We can't test it against, we don't know how it interacts with every single plugin in the world because we can't test it on all those things. So the more people test it with those things. Now, never, ever, ever update it on your live site. Please. I mean, take our word for it. That is not the right way to do it. But open it in a test environment, use the playground to do that. There's a plugin you can use for testing. It's all in the guidelines on the 6.8. If you go to wordpress.org/news, you will see it there. The most recent release candidate 2 has all of the information to do that. So the more people, I mean, I'm never going to say we have enough testers.
Okay.
Never. So get out there and test it. If you haven't tested it yet, we want to hear your feedback, good, bad, ugly. We want to know because we want to make sure that what gets released on April 15th, it just happens to coincide with tax day here in the US. What gets released on April 15th, we want it to be the best it can possibly be. And although you can never foresee everything, the more that we can take care of prior to that day, the better. Everybody will have it on release day. So.
No, absolutely. And I know one of the things that encourages me at Kinsta is we include staging environments with all of our sites. Yeah. So people go ahead, create a staging environment of the site,
test it out,
install the beta plugin, and just look at the site and test it out. Are your forms working? If you have a calendar or something like that, test everything that's really critical for your business. And make sure that it works. Make sure that when you fill out a form, you get the email because
test it against your themes. All of those things, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, it definitely. And so so that's the work that we're doing right now. It's always something, right? We just onboarded a whole bunch of new photo moderators, and the queue has been sitting at 0 at the end of every day. We have so many people moderating photos. We have over 20,000 photos now in the photo directory. And it used to be sometimes I would log in and be like, oh, there's 300 to moderate. Well, let me see how many I can do in 15 or 20 minutes. Now I log in, I'm like, the only ones I have to look at are the ones that are held as flagged because other people in the United States or outside of the United States can't see those. It's something to do with laws and things. And so usually it's a picture of an animal. Not always. Sometimes it's things that cannot be released, of course, for any number of reasons. But I would say all of the photos I have not allowed through, out of the hundreds that get flagged, only 2. So it's AI driven what gets put there versus other, and AI is very conservative. And so, but other than that, we just have people just getting in there, and it's all volunteer, as you said. moderating the photos into the photo directory. All of that is voluntary. So it's a great program, right? Open source is great as long as people are contributing to it, and companies like Kinsta make that a lot easier to do. So thanks for all that you do in the community. So you're sponsoring Post Status, you're sponsoring globally, you're sponsoring contributors. Goodness gracious, that's awesome. I love to hear that.
Oh, well, yeah, no, it's really exciting. It's something that a lot of us have been pushing for, some time. And then, we realized, hey, this is a good decision to make, not just for Kinsta, but for the community. So we're happy to help.
So any questions? I know we've got a couple of comments, but if you have questions, we have just a few more minutes before I let Roger go back to petting his dogs and doing his work. I will say WordCamp Canada says Kinsta docs and tutorials are among the best, super useful. I don't know who is logged in today as WordCamp Canada, but those are lovely words that they've had to share with you, which is awesome.
No, that thank you. And I'll make sure that gets passed on to the team. We've got multiple full-time writers on staff. Then we also do contract people to help with writing as well. But it's a very full-time project for us. We have in Slack, we have a content feedback channel that's internal. But anytime like a customer lets us know and support, hey, this documentation or something seems a little off, all of us at Kinsta can go into the content feedback channel and share that feedback, and do our best to kind of try and help make suggestions that are helpful for the writers. But the turnaround on those is really quick, and we want to make sure that the documentation is up to date and useful.
Sounds like a great team.
Oh, absolutely.
My last comment is that I think only the best podcasters also have lava lamps in the background, because I have one and I see yours.
Yes. No, the lava lamp was an absolutely critical piece for the set. It's just fun to have. It always reminds me, though, I think it was Cloudflare who, I don't know if it was an April Fool's joke post, but I remember years ago they had released something that the way that they do their random number generator is they have a series of lava lamps, and they use that for actually, they scan those, and then that's how they come up with their random number generation.
Oh, that's funny. Claudia says that the lava lamp is also a critical piece of equipment in her office. So absolutely. I don't know if you can tell, but right in front of my lava lamp is a chicken lamp.
Okay.
And
just barely.
The egg behind, the egg coming out of the chicken is the light bulb.
Perfect.
Yeah, I there's always something you can focus on in my background to talk about. That's for sure. Anyway, anything else you go ahead.
No, you have a great diversity background there, and I'm really happy that it's not a bookshelf of books that you're trying to project that you read.
I never read. No, of course I do. And I did once upon a time play the guitar, but those belonged to my father. And I joke that when I put them on the wall, I suddenly became a developer, because every developer has guitars in their background.
Okay, all right. I didn't know about that theory, but it does seem to.
Now you'll notice. Okay. We've also been asked here, how's your Durango WordPress meetup going? Since you were an organizer out there.
Yeah, thank you for asking. It's going well. I think we've done 8 in a row, so consecutively. I almost dropped the ball on this month, on April's, but we have it. It's happening on Friday. It's going good. Organizing events for any event organizers out there is challenging, and I feel you. And the meetups are a much more simplified version of an event than like a WordCamp or something, but it does still take work, right? You need to find the venue, you need to get people to show up, you need to try and have something worthwhile to talk about while you're there, so it's a lot of fun. It's also a challenge, and I think one of the best pieces of advice somebody told me was to get co-organizers as soon as possible.
Yes.
And I say it's the best advice. I still don't know if it is, because I haven't gotten any co-organizers yet. But I feel like, wow, that would probably help a lot. So
It
I
does,
think
I
that's really
promise.
reassuring. Okay. All right. Yeah. No,
Absolutely.
if anybody has any tips or tricks or advice, please feel free to reach out. Kinsta buys the lunch. So that's a pretty cool little perk for coming.
Nice.
And we've got a really cool venue. It's EsoTerra Cidery. They
Hmm.
have a tap room in downtown Durango, and it's a really wonderful venue. Lots of nice seats. They have a nice little lunch menu, and they give us the space for free to use. They're very happy to host us. So big shout out to EsoTerra. Thank you so much. They make
Nice.
really good cider, if that's your jam. But no alcoholic drinks purchased for people during the Kinsta lunch, by the way. Um,
Makes sense. Makes sense.
uh, but yeah, I think one of the challenges is coming up with topics that apply to the group as a whole, right? And so we'll have a
Hmm.
variety of people from beginners to advanced WordPress users. How do we come up with topics that attract all of those people and engages all of them?
That is the challenge.
Yeah. Any advice? Any tips you've figured out?
Mostly I figured out to just aim for the middle,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And the people that are overqualified for that will tend to either just not come, which is sad, but they tend to contribute to the conversation. And people who have not reached that level are learning it. So that's basically the best advice I could offer,
Okay.
or to split, and have a couple of discussions per conversation, per event. So
Okay. Okay. No, I like that, and we've kind of tracked towards that. The other thing I've done is I've brought in some people from outside of WordPress a little bit to talk
mhm.
about like
Yeah,
marketing and branding strategy,
yeah.
and really help to expand the group and the topics a little bit. So it's a
I
lot
even
of
had
fun.
somebody
Yeah.
come once and talk about business insurance
Okay.
and errors and omissions, which is a big thing for website developers. So
Excellent. Excellent.
yeah.
Yeah. No, and I think getting more people from the business community involved is great. Durango, and I'm outside of Durango. I'm in a little town called Mancos. We're very rural. I think Durango's got 17,000 people. Mancos has got 1,200 people. And one thing that still just like drives me crazy is how few local businesses have a website.
Yeah.
Even a Wix website, they don't even have that. They'll have a Facebook
Yeah.
page, and so that it breaks my heart a little bit. I want to at some point be like, hey, I'll build your website for you, but I'm kind of not in the stage of building websites right now. So
Same.
maybe AI will help. Maybe AI will help.
Probably. And we do have what do you call it? Justification, vindicate. I don't remember the right word, but anyway, right about the developers having guitars in their walls. Roger can confirm he doesn't have any on his office wall, but 4 on another wall. So
Nice,
there you go.
nice,
I think
nice.
there's just something about it, and it's interesting because development and math and music go hand in hand because of the mathematical qualities to both of those. So it makes sense that somebody who is, mathematically inclined would be interested in both of those things. Chords are very
Yeah,
mathematical.
no,
So
absolutely. And maybe this explains why I'm not a good developer, because I do not know how to play any music. So
it's okay. You can go to our Spotify and add some songs that and contribute musically that way.
absolutely. Yeah, no, I love listening to music, but yeah, no, I tried learning piano a bunch of years ago. I want to say like 12 years ago. Had an instructor come to the house, got full weighted keys and everything. And yeah, I just couldn't get past like Tinkle Tinkle Little Bell or something like that. But oh man, yeah, no,
I have an upright grand in my other room it was my grandfather's from the 20s, 1920s, not 2020. So it's it's over 100 years old now, my piano,
yeah,
and I learned when I was little. So I
okay.
don't play very often. I live in a condo and my neighbors would not be happy if I was banging on that piano at night, but it is nice to have around. So any
Excellent.
last any last words, last things you'd like to share with us, Roger?
I'd be remiss without mentioning that we just rolled out a new product called Kinsta Automatic Updates. This is an add-on feature to your website at Kinsta, and this does automatic updates of your themes and plugins. with the caveat that it does visual regression testing. So we take a screenshot before the update, we update it, and then we take a screenshot afterwards. If there's a difference, that means something went wrong. We revert the update, and then we notify you of which plugin caused the issue, so you can start troubleshooting it.
Nice.
I'm really excited about that. I was really excited about WordPress 6.5 when we came out with the auto rollback feature. That only catches PHP errors, which is, it's still massive. You should at least have that automatically on, I think. But with this feature, it just adds a little bit more to it, so it'll catch, maybe a plugin breaks a CSS feature or something, and so the site's not necessarily throwing a PHP error; it's still running, but it's broken. And if you're spending a lot of money on your marketing and advertising, having a landing page broken is really annoying. So this should help you with that. Yeah. So if you have questions about it, come to Kinsta.com and take a look. Kinsta automatic updates. That's pretty exciting. The team did a really great job.
And if people want to follow up with you, what's the best place to get in touch with you, Roger?
LinkedIn, I'll be honest with you. So I'm in the post status group. You can DM me there. Thank you for giving me more time in Slack. But honestly, like LinkedIn, I love getting contacted there. I enjoy spending time in LinkedIn. So yeah, reach out to me there. And if you want to be on a Kinsta talk, reach out and we'll work something out.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today. Again, if people are interested, they can go to kinsta.com. And if they're interested in the affiliate program, it's kinsta.com/affiliates. So thank you for all your sponsorships, all that you're doing, and all that you do to highlight some pretty amazing people in WordPress. I appreciate your time today and all that you do.
Thank you very much, Michelle. And I appreciate you and all the work that you've done. And thank you for having me on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you. We'll see everybody else next week.
Bye.
Bye.